Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and a very special edition of Cracking the Cryptic it is too. Today is the Dutch constructor Ard van de Wetering's 80th birthday. Ard, so many happy returns. And of course we have to do an Ard van de Wetering puzzle. And that is what we're going to be. This puzzle on screen is called 80, and I'm going to be having a go at it in tonight's video. Now, normally Saturdays in recent weeks have been we've been doing non-Sudoku puzzles, but I hope you'll understand why we're going to break that sequence. I'll do an extra pencil puzzle in the coming days to make up for it, but we really have to do an art puzzle today. And let me just share with you. Let me just share with you something about Ard's puzzles. I don't know if I've got the resolution on this correct. Let me move that over. So these are two of our biggest videos. In fact, one of them is our biggest video, this one, which was a puzzle that Ard created back in April 2020. We called the video a Sudoku with only 4 given digits, and you can see there it's had 9.2 million views. It's our biggest video ever. That video still got a 98.2% approval rating, which isn't bad given how many people have watched it, and nearly 250,000 likes. And this is a measure of the man. He makes puzzles that people absolutely love. And this is the second one as well. This is more recent, May 2022. You can see we've alighted on a theme with Ard's titles, but nearly 4 million views for that one as well. And so many of his other puzzles they're just incredibly popular. And Ard's puzzles are, let me try and sum up in a few words my feelings about them. He is quite a unique constructor. You will never find an Ard van de Wetering puzzle that has a long rule set. Often he gifts us 2 or 3 given digits. This one has 1, I notice. That's relatively low for Ard. They always have new rule sets, so he never repeats a rule set. I mean, and they always have an absolute elegance that you discover in the solving process. You know, they're just lovely little vignettes, often mathematical ideas, often quite approachable, sometimes not. There have been longer Ard van de Wetering videos in the past where I've got stuck. But yeah, the amount of joy that this man has brought into the puzzling world, I really, really wonder whether he realizes just what an effect he's had on so many people's lives. So I was going to ask you, goodness knows what would happen if I can't do this puzzle. I mean, that's another story actually, because Mark and one of the testers put this into the software for me today, and I got a phone call from Mark a couple of hours ago saying that he didn't understand the rules, and neither the tester nor Mark had been able to solve the puzzle. And don't do anything until he could get me a working version. But I think they found a way of solving it or presenting it, and this is what we're going to be having a look at today. But it was quite a panic because you can't delay this. This is Ard's birthday. But anyway, what I was going to say is that, assuming this does become a video, please, if you found the channel through one of Ard's puzzles, wouldn't it be a lovely thing to just wish him a happy birthday in the comments, and maybe pass on a story about what his puzzles might have meant to you? And that might sound silly, but I think for more people than perhaps Ard realizes, it might have actually had quite a little impact on their lives. You know, maybe they rediscovered Sudoku as a result of one of Ard's puzzles, and it's become a big hobby of theirs. There are any number of stories that I think might exist out there, and it strikes me as it would be a rather poignant and fitting birthday present from the channel to this wonderful guy who has done so much for us, if we could give him some rather nice messages today. Now, so that's anyway. That's an introduction, a longer introduction. I hope you're getting chocolate cake as well. I'm not sure if you're a fan of chocolate cake or not, but let me have a quick look at my other list. I have got other birthdays to do today as well, but a few things to mention. Over on Patreon, we've got the Sudoku Skunkworks competition puzzles for the month. 16 puzzles in all themed around duality. So things like lines having 2 Sudoku rules associated with them. The feedback we've had from those who've managed to get through the pack so far has been absolutely brilliant, unsurprising. Skunkworks know what they're doing, and there is a chance, if you win the competition, which closes on the 20th, so soon, you're one of the options for the prize will be to make a Sudoku video with me. So I don't know whether that makes it more or less popular, but that is going to be a possibility. We are streaming on Monday night the Caterdokupillar. Have I got a picture of the Caterdokupillar? Yes, there it is. Oh, my screen must be in a slightly strange place today, but there we go. This is me, Marista's brainchild, and there's a lot of puzzles in this Caterdokupillar. And we're going to try and solve some of them at least. Wish us luck. 10 p.m. UK time on Monday night. Love to have your company for that. And of course, our Fog of War Sudoku app is out. It's out on Android. It's out on Steam. It's out on Apple. Lots of Fog of War puzzles for you to try. Definitely commend it to you. And let's do some other birthdays. I will start off by wishing... Well, Brian, you've turned half of Art's age today. Brian's turned 40. I know this because your wife, Lauren, wrote to us. Apparently, you've even got her saying bobbins now. Well done. And the two of you have been together for 18 years. And Brian, I will say that Lauren's email was very, very complimentary about you. So I hope you have a great birthday today with, of course, some chocolate cake. Next, over in North Carolina, we're going to say happy birthday to Dylan, who's a little bit younger than Ard and a little bit younger than Brian, 23. Your best friend Elise wrote to us and told us, Dylan, that I think the two of you watched the videos together and that you've been working hard on your master's degree recently, as well as applying to law schools. Well, I hope good luck with that. I hope that your applications are successful, and I hope you get some good cake today. And then finally, Victoria, over there in Canada, your husband Mike wrote to us and said that are you going off Sudoku in favour of diamond painting and scrapbookery? Which I love the sound of diamond painting and scrapbookery, but I'm pretty sure, Victoria, that you're going to get back into variant Sudoku, perhaps with Ard's puzzle today, and I hope you have a great birthday with some splendid chocolate cake. And with that said and done, let's have a look at 80 by Ard van der Wetering. These are the rules, not many rules here. So we've got normal Sudoku rules apply, which means we have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. Along each separate grey line, lengths 3, 5, or 7. Okay, the product of the digits is 80. Okay, so is that... I'm just wondering why the lengths 3, 5, or 7 is there. We could see that the lengths are 3, 5, and 7. Oh, maybe it's trying to say that this line goes straight or something, rather than bending round. I don't know, but it seems quite clear to me where the lines go. Now, there's one more rule. It says each cage contains a two-digit prime number, read left to right. So that's a prime number, that's a prime number, that's a prime number, that's a prime number. A plus B equals, let's give those a colour, A plus B equals C plus D. Oh, hang on, this isn't going to work because I have to... Okay, let's stop there. A plus B equals C plus D equals A plus C equals B plus D equals 80. So the greens add to 80, the purples add to 80, but also, let's change the colouring. What that means is the blues add up to 80 and the yellows add up to 80. So there's lots of different ways that these numbers add up to 80. And they are all of the rules. Do have a go. These puzzles are spectacularly good. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, surely I have to start here, don't I? Because, well, if I divide 80 by 2, I get 40. So those two numbers have to multiply together to give 40. And they aren't 4 and 10, because 10 is not a Sudoku digit. So they are 5 and 8, I think. I think that must be right. And then this line, which is 7 cells long, well, what are the prime factors of 80 is what I'm wondering. So 80, divide it by, well, 40, 20, 10, 5. So, okay, so 5 and 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So it's 2 to the power 4 times 5. They're the sort of atoms that make up the number 80. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. So we always have to have a 5 on all of these lines. Because and the reason for that is that you can't times a 5 by 2 in Sudoku and put 10 anywhere. So every line has to have a 5 on it. Although I do see, look, if we were to put a 5 here, for example, it would do for 2 lines. How many lines have we got? Oh, if we put a 5 there, it would do for 2 lines as well. 1, 2, 3. Well, that's how many cells are on the line, Simon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 lines. There are only 9 5s in the puzzle, but there is, of course, the opportunity to join 5s up in a variety of places. If we knew none of the intersections had 5s on, then these lines would have to have 8 of the 9 5s in the puzzle. And that sort of thing might affect what the prime numbers are we could put in the corner boxes. But okay, let's come back to this line. This line must have a 5 on it somewhere. And it needs more factors of 2 than just 2. It needs another... it needs 8 more, if you like. When I say 8, it's 2 times 2 times 2. Because effectively this line could be thought of as being 5 times 2 times 8. So it definitely needs some 1s on it, doesn't it? Yeah, in fact, no, let's change. I'm changing my mind again. What are those 2 digits? Now, remember that the atoms that are making up the number 80 are multiples of 2 and the number 5. Now, we can't include the number 5 in either of these squares. We could include only one multiple of 2, and that's 4, because 8's gone and 2's gone. We can't use 6 because we'd need to use 3, and 3 isn't one of the atoms that make up the number 80. So we have to use 4 and we have to use 1. They have to be 1 and 4. And now we've only got... okay, so now this line is made up of the digits 1, 2 and 5 only. Because we need a 5 as a factor. We need one more 2. So one of these numbers is going to be a 2, one of them is going to be a 5, and the other 2 must be 1 or we're going to break the bank. So there is a 1 in this box and a 1 in this box. Now, right, I see. Okay. So let's think a bit harder about this now. So now we've worked out what the factors of 80 are. We know each line must have a 5. So this line must have a 5. This line must have a 5. Then we need to multiply the other digits along these 3 cell lines here to equal 16. Now we could have done that with 4 times 4 if these weren't in the same row. 4, but we can't do 4, 4, 5 here. That will break the rules of Sudoku. So this is a bit like this line. This has to be 2, 5, 8. This has to be 2, 5, 8. And there, they can't be 2s. A given digit, which I don't often see actually, my brain has learnt that it's much more important if they're blue digits normally, because I get so few given digits these days. Only in odds puzzles really. So now one of these lines already has an 8 on it, which is using up quite a lot of its factors of 2, isn't it? It's using up 3 of the factors. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. We'd only be able to put one more 2 on whichever of these lines has 8 on it. Whichever of these diagonal lines, I mean. Now what about this? Okay, yeah. So the diagonal line here. Yes, actually, hang on. Let me just pause to look at this. Wait a second. Why is the symmetry broken here? This is completely rotationally symmetrical. It must be something to do with the cages having to have prime numbers in them, because I don't understand that. Yeah, maybe the... Yeah, it must be the numbers. It must be these numbers, because if we didn't have the cages, what I'm noticing is if we were to rotate this grid around 180 degrees, it would look exactly the same, which suggests it would have 2 solutions, but it's an art puzzle, so it won't have 2 solutions. Okay, but anyway, what I was going to say is look at this line and this line. Now, these lines could be our 2, 5, 8 friends, which we've got here and here. That is possible. However, this line does afford the possibility of a double 4 on the line, so double 4 and 5. So I suppose all we can do is really add 4 to the pencil marking options. Okay. Right, so we need to do quite some magic with the 5 cell line then. Which we know has got, in one of these positions, has got an 8. Each one needs to have a 5 on it. But again, the 5s could be at the crossing points. And then... let's just imagine that's an 8 for a moment. Let me just think about that. If that's an 8, this line has to just... the only digits that would then appear on the rest of this line are exactly the digit 2, the digit 5, and 2-digit 1s. Nothing else could possibly work. Now, now how do we do that then? I don't know. I don't know how to do that. That's really strange. Are we going to have to try the prime numbers? So we need prime numbers that sum to 80. Now, there are a lot of 2-digit prime numbers. How do we do that? Do we start off with... I'm wondering whether the way to do it is to sort of take half of 80, which is 40. So you're going to have one digit that's higher than 40 that's prime, and one digit that's lower than 40 that's prime. So 41 and 39 doesn't work, because 39 isn't prime. 43 and 37 doesn't work, although they are both prime, but they've got 2 3s in them. So we couldn't make that 43 and 37. That won't work. What about 47? Oh no, that doesn't work. 47 is 33, isn't it? So I haven't found any 40 numbers that work. 51 isn't prime. 53 is prime. 53 would go with 27. No, 27 isn't prime. I haven't found one that works. 57 is divisible by, darts players will know, 19. 59 is definitely prime. And 21 is not prime. That doesn't work. No, I was going to say 61 and 19, and that doesn't work because that's got 2 1s in it. So I found 2 that could have worked that have been ruled out by Sudoku. 63 is not prime. 67 is 67 prime. I think it is. 67 and 13 is not repeating a digit. That's weird, because and anything bigger than that, you're reducing the. You can't use 11. 11 won't work from a Sudoku perspective. And anything lower, anything higher than that, is not going to lead to a 2-digit prime on the other side. So this has to be. And this has to be the same. But what was the column thing? Okay, sorry. I hadn't grokked this at all. Right. Yeah. This is the same as this, isn't it? Oh, for goodness sake. Sorry. I hadn't appreciated this. Right. Okay, this prime number, what we're saying is it's added to this prime number and separately this prime number to get to the same number, to get to 80. So this number is the same as this number, is what we're being told. So this is either, what do we say, 67. So 60 would have to go in the tens digit, 67, or 13. Right, so 1, 1, 3, 3. But then, okay, and this is the same, isn't it? So this is, but this, hang on, no, forget this. Okay, I'm being totally inept here. Right, what is the number that goes in there? Because it's not 13, because there's a 1 in one of those 2 squares to make this thing work. So it's 67 in here, and that's our first, well, that's the first earned digit. So 67 is added to 13. 67 is added to... Oh, that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Now it looks awfully like we're going to do Sudoku. Those have got to be 4 and 9 to complete their respective rows. Oh dear, hang on. Oh dear, hang on, I can't see what to do at all. That's very distressing. Okay, that's not a 1 by Sudoku, so that's got to be the 1, because we know one of these was a 1. So this is now a more meaningful number. 1 is in one of those 2 squares by Sudoku. 1 could repeat, couldn't it? We absolutely could repeat a 1, and probably need to repeat a 1 on this line. We've got to get a 1 in the middle box as well. It could be something weird, like how many 1s can you put on the lines? You know, taking into account that fair-weathered friend Sudoku. Yeah, it's definitely broken the symmetry, this as well, hasn't it? Because I get a 1 here, but I don't get the equivalent 1 here. Because the sort of 2-digit numbers, obviously, they don't work the same way. So imagine that we rotated the grid now around 180 degrees. This would not map to there. So it's different. So that has broken the symmetry. Okay, so perhaps what I've got to do... I don't know. I think it's going to be something like... Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I know what it's going to be. It's going to be... I don't even want to entertain the possibility that I'm going to get stuck on this. I really do not. It's going to be something to do with these digits, isn't it? So we know that, in fact, we know there are certain digits that just can't go on these lines because we can only use 2s and 5s and numbers that when you multiply 2 by itself you can create, so 4s and 8s. So these cells here and therefore these cells here are from 1, which is the problem digit, 2, 4, 8, 5. That is not 1 or 2 actually, because of the middle digit. Oh, Sudoku using the middle digit. That's not 2. That's not 1. Just using this. Oh dear, oh dear. That's still not done it, has it? Well, that line's got quite big numbers on it. Yeah, one of those is a 5. I might come back to that. That looks interesting. I'm just going to try and do more Sudoku from labelling these lines first. Is there something? I'm just not seeing it. No. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's come back to this line. Look at those 2 squares. Now, imagine neither of these was 5. There's only going to be one 5 on this line. Imagine neither of these was 5. Well, then this would be a 4 or an 8, and that would be an 8. Now, 8 times 4 is too big. That's too many factors of 2. We're only allowed 4 sort of atoms of 2, aren't we? 8 is 3, 4 is 2, 3 plus 2 is 5. That's too many. So we'd be multiplying this line to the wrong number if one of these is not a 5. So one of these is a 5. Now, well, that means the rest of the line does not contain 5. That's one thing it means. Right, okay, it also means that the rest of the line doesn't include an 8, because the absolute minimum these 2 squares could be would be a 5 and a 4, which is 20. So we could have a 4 on the line. Ah, no, we can't. Oh, right. This is it. Right. This is the hard line. This is the hard line. Right. So we definitely can't have an 8, because when we multiplied it by 4 or 8, we've got too many factors of 2. But here is a beautiful point. Here is a beautiful point. Let me just think about this. I thought I had something to do with this digit, but I'm not now sure. I'm not now sure it's solid. So let me think about this again. Definitely if one of these is 8, these are going to be a 5-8 pair, and these are going to be made up of the digits 2. There's going to be 1, 2 and 2 1s in those squares. Oh, that's actually really interesting for that square. This is really cool. It's to do with this line. It's to do with this line and how it interacts, I think, with those two squares. Okay, so if we don't use 8 in either of these... Oh gosh, no, it is. I've done it. Right. So, this is the point. But we've got to be very precise about this. Either this is 5, 8 as a pair, multiplying together to give 40. Now that means these squares multiply together to give 2, which means they include the digit 2 once and the digit 1 twice. Now in that situation, look at this square. That digit sees all 3 of these digits, which must include they must include 1 and 2. So this would be a 5. But what happens if these are not 5 and 8? If these are not 5 and 8, they are 4 and 5, multiplying to give 20, which means these squares have to include digits that multiply to 4 this time. Now here it gets very, very beautiful, because could you use a 4 and 2 1s? No, because one of these would be the 4, and therefore the other of those would be a 1, and that makes that cell impossible to exist. So you can't do that. So the only way it works if you make these a 4-5 pair is if 2 of these squares is a 2 and one of them is a 1. And in that situation, that square cell still sees a 1 and a 2. And therefore, because it sees all 3 of those, it is always a 5. That is absolutely brilliant. Now this has to be a 1, because we know there's a 1 in one of those squares. This now has to be a 2, because we've had our 5 on the line. So that's taking 2 out of there, 2 out of there, 2 out of there, 2 out of there. That's probably doing a lot more than that. I'm just not seeing it. That's not able to be 5 anymore. That's not able to be 5 anymore. So these are either double 2 or a 1 and a 2. They never include 4, do they? That's the point. They never include 4. So one of these is a 1. No, that's not true, because they could be double 2. Sorry, I was thinking maybe I could get to that digit using that methodology, but I can't. Something we might be able to do now is to use those 2 squares in a similar way on this line. But let's just keep thinking first about Sudoku. Because I got this 2 and I don't feel I used it very well. Can we do something clever with it? I'm not sure. Can I do something with the 5 here? Is that 5 doing some magic that I'm not spotting? I don't know, actually. Can't see. Okay, let's go back to this line then. We've got a 5, 8 here and a 4, 5, 8 here. So again, one of these digits has to be the 5 on this line, because otherwise we're multiplying 4 and 8 and we've got too many factors of 2. So this is not 5 and this is not 5. Now, I've got to be a bit careful. I can't put 2 on this line. Ah! That's very awkward, isn't it? I can't put 8 on it. Oh, that's massive. That is absolutely massive. Yes. How come that here? Why is that? I see it's the middle 2. I was sort of not understanding that, but now I do. Okay, this line simply cannot contain the digit 2. So how does it work? Well, Could it have 8 on it is the question I want to ask. Because if you do put 8 on it, that's 3 factors of 2. So you can only have one more, and you need a 2 to make the 16 that we need. So there's no possibility that 8 lives on this line. And that seems to have made, that's now a 5, a naked single. You can't put 2 5s on the line. That's a 4. We need one more 4. That's a 1, and that's a 4. So we get the 16 from the 4 times 4. We get the 5 here. These squares no longer include 5. That square is not a 1. That square is a 9. That square's a 4. Oh, I see. Right, this line at the bottom has not got 4 on it at all now. So it must be of the 2, 5, 8 flavouring. That 4 is giving me a 1 here in the middle box. There's a 4 in one of these squares by Sudoku. Oh, 4 in one of those 3 positions. Now, that's not 4. That's not 4. Right, this line is also 2, 5, 8 now, because the only way you could have a 3-cell line that wasn't 2, 5, 8 is if it was 4, 4, 5, and you can now only put 1 4 on this line. So it's not got a 4 here. Yeah, this, okay, so that digit now, well, that's a 2, 8 pair, so that is 5. So that's 2 or 8. What I was actually noticing is that those 2 digits were the same, because that digit, whatever it is a 2 or an 8, and it has to appear on this line. So those two digits are the same, whatever they are, and they go there by Sudoku, because they're not equal to 5 or 7. Now, has that helped us? Quite possibly. I mean, the green digit also has to appear on that line. 4. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's a 9 here and a 4 here. Oh, no, nearly. It would be very useful if we understood the nature of this line, wouldn't it? What would be even more useful than that is if we could work out whether this consists of 1 2 or 2 2s. Well, it can't be 2 2s. This can't be a 2, actually. Because if this is 2, you can't put 2 on this line. So that's got to be a 1, and then that's got to be the 2. Because we knew one of these was a 2. So now, we can't use 4 here after all. Because if we use 4 here, we need an extra factor of 2 here, and we can't get one. So that's got to be, well, it's not 4, actually. Maybe we'll just stop with that. It's not 4. Oh, okay. So this is 4 by Sudoku. This is 4 by Sudoku. How many 4s have we got? The answer is many, many 4s. Oh, we can't get the last 2. There's sort of an X-wing pattern there. But we can get 2 here by Sudoku. That gives me an 8 here, a 2 here, a 2, a 2, an 8. Come on now. This... right, these are 6, 7 and 9. What I will say, Ard, is what a puzzle. What a puzzle, my friend. How fitting. Oh, nearly. Actually, how many... Yeah, so that's working, isn't it? I was wondering whether we could finish off. Oh, I can do that one. I can do the middle box, 5 and 8. That's no longer an 8. So this is 2 or 5. That's no longer an 8. Or that's a 5. It can't be 2 either. Sorry, I hadn't seen that. So that's 8. This is now 2, presumably. So that's 8. That's 5. That's 2. That's 8. This is 8. This is 8. How many 8s have we got? Loads. Oh, nearly all of them, but now I've got all of them. I feel like we've got a lot of 2s as well. We've got all the 2s. We can do that. That must be 5. All of the lines are now done. So, oh dear. So now it's Sudoku time. Can we do better with Sudoku? Yes, 1s. That's a 1, that's a 4, that's a 4. That's putting a 1 in here by Sudoku. Those squares are 3, 6, and 7. I don't think we've done very much with 3s, 6s, 7s, or 9s. I suppose we've got 3s, 6s, and 7s though in the prime numbers. That must be how we sort of resolve those in the end. Yeah, so that's not 6. What do we need down here? 3 and 9. Don't know if that's resolved. I can't see why it would be. But in this row we need to put 7 and 6. And I get the 6 from the prime number. So that's 7, that's 6. So these are 3 and 9 in the column. Still doesn't seem to. So look, in this row, I've not put 5 into the row. I can only put it here, apparently. So maybe 5s are a better place to look. Oh, look at this. I've got loads of 5s. In fact, I've got 8 5s. So the 9th 5 goes into the grid. These squares are 6 and 9. Must be resolved. Come on, why? I'm not seeing it. Okay, these squares are 3 and 7. So that's 3 or 7 in terms of this column. Yes, it's just going to be some nefarious Sudoku that we have to do now to get this done, I think. This is 3 or 9. So 7 in this column is in one of those 2 cells. I don't know which one. Maybe the middle box, is that doing something clever? 3, 6, 7, 9. No, that's weird. I'm not sure there's any pressure on. Oh, 9 can't go there. Okay, so 9 is in one of those 2 squares. Three 9, 7 9, 3 7 or 9. No, I do not want to do it like that. 3 7 or 9. Okay. This column. Look at that. That square is 6 or 9, and that square is 6 or 9. So there's a little pair in this row. That's going to get me the 9 in the middle box, which now has to be here. Let's hope that does more than that, though. So this is not 6. This is 3 or 7. So this is 6. My phone is buzzing at me. Let me just... oh, no, I can't do that at the moment. Oh, okay, let me try and speed up the solve. That's famous last words, isn't it? 3 6 7 9 here. 3 7 9. This square is, I think, 3 7 or 9. I feel like every cell is 3 7 or 9 for some reason. Though the 9 here is doing things. So that's 3. Oh, I don't know if you heard that. That was a firework going off. That's, look, that's 9. That's 6. That's 7. That's 7. 3 6 here. This is 9. This is 3. This is 7. That's 9. 9, 6. 6, 9, 3. Here we go. 3, 9. What's that? 6? Feels like it's a 6. 3 3 6 7 7 3. A flurry at the end. It's probably right. Let's see. Yay! That's just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Happy birthday to one of the greatest constructors there has ever been in the history of this wonderful hobby. Ard van der Wetering, many happy returns. Thank you for all the pleasure you've given me. Well, let Ard know in the comments what you thought of his puzzle. We enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.